Dear students, welcome to Candela. Today we are going to discuss about the concept of bureaucracy. The concept bureaucracy was first introduced by a French economist, Mr. V. D. Gournay. He is the one who in mid of the 18th century introduced the concept bureaucracy, but this concept was later studied and elaborated by various scholars like M.S. Gill and Mosca as well as Michel, but it was systematically studied and characterized by the scholar Max Weber. He is a German scholar. This concept of bureaucracy was put forth by Max Weber as a systematic study, and also when this German concept was translated into English, it was become a famous concept. So, the concept of bureaucracy as per Weber is nothing but the bureaucracy is an administrative body of people who are ruling, that is they are appointed and they are ruling. This is the concept of bureaucracy put forth by Weber. How these people who got authority, this is what is being defined by Max Weber. So, as per Weber's concept, there are two things, one is called as power and another one is called as authority. What is power? When it comes to power, if an order of a person is being pressured or involuntarily subjected on another person, it can be called as power, whereas authority is nothing but it is backed by a legitimate rule or a law. That is where the authority is being differentiated from. As per Weber, there are 5 important components of authority. That is, the first component is nothing but the individuals who are ready to rule. The individuals are a group of people who are ready to rule is the first component of authority, and second component is individual or a group of individuals who are being ruled, and third component is nothing but the people who are ruling is willing to command as per the law, and fourth component is the people who are ready to accept the rule, and the fifth component is nothing but the scholars or the people who are involved in this commanding authority should have some objective. So, these are all the components of authority put forth by Weber. Whereas, why this authority is being accepted and how the people are ready to accept the command of other person, this has been differentiated by Weber through 3 important types of authorities. The Weber clearly distinguishing between these 3 types of authorities. The first concept is called as traditional authority. What is traditional authority? This traditional authority. So, we all very well know that we all bound by certain norms and traditional. Say for example, if some elderly person is coming, obviously if we are sitting, we will stand up. So, this is the concept that comes from year after year, from generation after generation as a tradition. So, when senior person is coming, in order to have a respect or a gesture of respect, we will stand up if we are sitting. So, this is what tradition is. So, obviously when it comes to traditional authority means year after year certain set of traditional organization that has been respected by the people. For example, kinship. Say for example, when during the rule of kings, say this authority can be categorized into 2 types. One is patriarchal, one is patrimonial. When it comes to patriarchal type of authority, in this concept of patriarchal authority, obviously say for example, the tribals of Kalahari, they follow this kind of patriarchal authority, where in a family a senior most person or a elder person will be having the authority to command all other members of the family. So, here generation after generation, this senior person or the elder person of the family get that authority through tradition. This is what we call it as traditional authority. So, when it comes to patrimonial also, we all know very well that when it comes to hereditary kind of monarchy, year after the year people are ready to accept the terms and conditions or rules and regulations of their monarch. This is nothing but when the monarchy is being established, people by tradition ready to accept the commands of the monarch, whether it is rule whatever that is put forth by the king, whether it is acceptable or unacceptable, people will not deny the authority of the traditional leader, thereby by tradition these people are getting authority. This is what the first method or first concept the Weber is explaining as traditional authority. Whereas next to this traditional authority, Weber explained something called as charismatic authority. Why? What is charismatic authority? When it comes to charisma, a person who is innately having certain ability as a supreme being or a superhuman being or a super personality. So, some of his characters will be attracted by the people naturally. Say for example, of late we know very well that young people are running behind these superstars, whether it is a cine personality or a personality who is in the social activity. Obviously, they are moved by this iconic personality. Say for example, few years back when anti-corruption movement was started, the people started following a leader called Arvind Kejriwal. He became a charismatic leader everywhere. They started talking about him. Ultimately, this charismatic leader's command evolved as a authority. This is how a charismatic leader will emerge. Say in olden days, say for example in cine personalities like Amitabh Bachchan, or when it comes to Karnataka, Rajkumar, or still a person who is in the remembrance of people, Dr. M.G. Ramachandran, MGR of Tamil Nadu. These people are emerged as a charismatic leader. Obviously, these charismatic leaders will, as per Weber, emerge when there is a crisis, and the word of this charismatic leader will be followed by all the followers, irrespective of whether he is having any rule-backed authority or a rational legal authority. Irrespective of that, this charismatic leader will have followers, and during the crisis he will emerge as a single leader of command. All the people will follow. But what actually happens with respect to this charismatic authority as per Weber is, when the problem solved, automatically this charismatic leader's role will also become nil. But at times what happens is, this charismatic leader will evolve as a traditional leader or a legal rational leader. That is how these people, being a charismatic leader, later entered into politics. Say for example, MGR is a famous name in Tamil Nadu. He ruled nearly 18 years till his last breath. That is how a traditional leader or a legal rational leader evolved from this charismatic leadership. And obviously, this charismatic leadership once entered into a system, obviously it will be followed as a traditional leadership also. That is how his aide, Dr. J. Jayalalitha, continued the tenure of M.G. Ramachandran as Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu. So, these charismatic leaders will create a traditional type of authority, and it can be converted even into a legal rational authority. This is how Weber clearly explained this legal rational authority, charismatic authority, and as well as the concept of traditional authority. So, let us move on from traditional, charismatic, and let us move on from traditional to charismatic. Now, let us study about the concept of legal rational authority. When it comes to a organizational type of setup with respect to authority that is backed by law, we call it as legal rational authority. What is this legal rational authority is? This authority will be governed by certain set of rules and regulations. Say for example, we call it as rule book or a law book. That is how the organization called bureaucracy evolves. So, this bureaucracy is governed by certain set of rules, and also there will be a kind of hierarchy that is being established in this concept of bureaucracy. So, the superior and the subordinate relationship will be evolved. When it comes to superior and subordinate relationship evolved, the command of superior needs to be accepted by the subordinate if it is within the rule, and at the same time each and every person who are in the bureaucracy will have certain set of jurisdiction. Within their jurisdiction, they are supposed to execute their authority. This is what we call it as legal rational authority, and Weber very clearly explained the characteristic features of bureaucracy. When it comes to bureaucracy, as I told you very well, it is governed by certain rule as well as certain law. The people in the bureaucracy will be selected through either kind of a examination or through an interview or through a skill test, and they will be continuously given a training to rule. All these rules and regulations will be continuously taught to them in order to control the subordinates as per law. So, the first and foremost thing is how the bureaucrats are being selected and appointed. And second important thing when it comes to this authority is the individual or the subordinate is free to accept the command of the superior if only it is impersonal. When it is personal, he need not to obey his superior. For example, if a superior is giving a command without any personal intention and he is giving as per his authority, it is the duty of the subordinate to obey the order of the superior. Whereas, when it comes to a personal order, yes, you resign today, if at all a senior is commanding his subordinate, means he need not to obey the authority because it is a personal command, it is not a impersonal command. So, that is what the Weber very clearly distinguishing between personal as well as the impersonal commands of bureaucrats. And the third thing is each and every person in the bureaucracy will be having the right to salary, because it should be the sole occupation of that person. So, obviously, he should have right to salary as well as right to pension. It is one of the prominent thing Weber clearly categorizes that each and every individual who are involved in this bureaucracy will draw a salary as it is being a primary occupation for him, and at the same time he is having right to pension after his superannuation. So, this is what we clearly understand, that bureaucracy is creating an organizational setup and it is putting personnel into it, and each and every personnel have a jurisdiction on his own which is put forth as per the law, and each and every person should act according to his own jurisdiction. He is not supposed to move out of his jurisdiction, and the subordinate also need not to obey if it is beyond the law, if it is out of the law. And next important point which Weber explains about the bureaucracy is nothing but this person who is occupying the position is not supposed to own any of the administrative things. So, obviously, the ownership is with the position, not with the person. So, anybody who is occupying a position, he is about to enjoy all the privileges as well as all the assets of his office, whereas they are not supposed to own it. Say for example, if you are working as a director of certain institution and that institution is getting an award for excellence, means that award for excellence is not meant for that person, it is meant for the director. So, he is not supposed to own it as his own personal belongings, he is supposed to leave it in his office. So, that is how we need to distinguish between what is the office position and what is a person's identity. That is what he clearly explains, that any bureaucracy, whether they are not supposed to own anything as per their own. So, these are all the things, characters that is being explained by Weber as characteristic features of bureaucracy. So, this is how a systematic concept of bureaucracy evolved, and it was established across the world to administer the people as per the law. So, the rule of law is the basic for bureaucracy, and the administration evolved as per the bureaucratic model that is characterized by Max Weber. Thank you very much.